Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and today we've got Hoops. What's going on? How you doing?
What's going on, man? Overall, I'm doing good still. How are you doing?
All right. Work was a little chaotic today, but nothing too much to complain about. But yeah,
Yeah,
we've got a very exciting episode today. We're not doing the usual, NBA rundown like we've been doing in for like the first month of the NBA. We will go back to it somewhat soon, but because of the holiday season, it's kind of hard to schedule these episodes in a timely manner. So we're making a lot of fun episodes to spread out for the next few weeks, and that's why we are doing our top 25 Lakers list. As you can see, we've got our Lakers gear on. Uh, we're, I'm sure you're excited about this as I am, right? You got the AD jersey. I got my Kobe shirt, my Lakers hat. I'm excited to talk some Lakers today. Um, we did try to make this video before, but due to just life, I guess, we couldn't finish it. So we're starting over and we're gonna give it another shot. But do you want to let people know like what was your thought process behind your list?
yeah. So pretty much, behind my list, a lot of it is mostly I've seen play, or maybe not necessarily seems like a lot of these players I didn't necessarily see them play, but I know a lot about their history. So most of these players are based off the players that I know pretty well or seen firsthand. Um, so for example, Minneapolis Lakers, I don't know much about those players. So I don't have very many of those players on the list. Um, but I guess in a way we can say my list is made based on like personal vibes slash fan favorites in a way, as well as also knowing about the Lakers' history.
And I think that's fair. Just going off of vibes, it's kind of hard since we are in our 20s to judge players that we've never seen before. Like we just heard about them, and maybe watch some highlights. So it is hard to like rank all these greats, especially if uh, some of the best players in this franchise history are extremely old. So I think that's fair. But yeah, I was kind of similar. Like I try to look into certain accolades, stats, stuff like that with my list, and then some just personal favorites sprinkled in there as well. But without further ado, let's get into this. So we have our own top 25 lists, and we're gonna reveal them uh, from 25 to number one, but we're gonna go by chunks of five. So we're gonna reveal 25 through 21 right now, right? Do you want to reveal
Yeah.
yours right now?
Sure. Um, at 25, so to start, from our original list when we originally tried to first record this video, I made a few slight adjustments because I'll be honest, last time when I made that list, I rushed it a little bit, so there were certain parts that I didn't put in the greatest thought process. But after thinking a little bit more, I was able to, I think, come up with a little bit better list now. But without further ado, from 25 to 21, at number 25, I got Vladi Divac. At number 24, I got Eddie Jones. At number 23, I got Vern Mickelson. At number 22, I got Robert Horry. And at 21, I got Kurt Rambis.
Nice, nice. There's a few of these players that I just don't have on my list in general, like Kurt Rambis, Vern and Vlade Divac, even though I was thinking about Vlade. But why did you add them to the list? Oh, and Eddie
Yeah.
Jones. I don't think I have Eddie Jones either.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think towards the bottom of the list, we have some unique differences.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. So Vladi Divac, um, he was a little bit before my time, but I do know like he had some good seasons as the Lakers being a contributor. I'm pretty sure he was primarily the starting center for a few years. Um, but then ultimately, came the summer of 1996. That was the year when first Shaquille. Well, I know that the draft happens before the free agency, but Lakers had a lot of, from what I recall, the Lakers had a lot of cap space that summer, so they were trying to go all in, and their plan was to sign Shaquille O'Neal. So of course, at that point, they don't really need Vlade Divac anymore because they were gonna get a younger, better star player, and then ultimately moving Vlade. Um, we know the history. We were able to land arguably the greatest Laker of all time, Kobe being Bryant. Um, so not only was Vlade a pretty good player for the Lakers during his time, but he also helped land us arguably our best player in our franchise history. So gotta appreciate that man for that for sure. Um,
That's so
Eddie
funny
Jones,
to me
I know.
that a big reason why he's on the list is because without him we wouldn't have got Kobe. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I would say that would be one of the reasons. Um, but yeah, there's definitely several factors. Um, Eddie Jones also before my time, but from what I know, during Kobe's early years, he was one of Kobe's mentors. So I'm like pretty much if you're a mentor to Kobe being Bryant, I assume they gotta at least be pretty good. He I didn't really get to watch Eddie Jones, but looking at like his stat lines and hearing about some of his mixtapes, which I haven't seen a lot of, just hearing about it seemed like he was a pretty good player. Um, and then Vern Mickelson, he played for the Minneapolis Lakers. Um, so for sure, I never got to watch him. Way before our time. But I looked at his stats, and he averaged double digits every year in both the regular season and the playoffs. Granted, back he did play from the 1949 to 1959, so basketball was very different back then. But I still think that his stat lines were relatively pretty good. So I'm just like, why not? I'll give a Minneapolis Lakers some love on this list. Um, Robert Horry, that man was known for making a lot of big shots for pretty much all the teams that he played for, particularly for the Lakers. 2002, I believe it was Game 6 against the Kings. I think that was when the Lakers were down 3-2 and they were down by 2 points late. And if I think what happened was Kobe got his shot blocked by Vlade Divac, and then Vlade Divac tipped the ball back, and it went straight in their big shot Rob's hands, and then he made the three, not to tie the game, but to give the Lakers the lead. That was a turning point in history for sure because if he didn't make that shot, then the Kings win that series, and then they would have played against the Nets that year in the finals. But thanks to Robert Horry, the Lakers were able to force a game seven, eventually win that game seven, and then they went on to sweep the Nets in the finals in en route to their three-peat. So I thought that Robert Horry definitely deserving to be on the list for clutch moments like that. And then Kurt Rambis, he was known for being like a hard nosed player back in the day, from what I know. A part of the Showtime Lakers teams, um, a big part of the Lakers and Celtics rivalries. Obviously, if we like we've seen a clip about like when he got into like a little bit of fight. I don't remember which Celtics player it was. It might have been Kevin McHale or something. Um, but yeah, Kurt Rambis was a key contributor during Showtime Lakers, won 4 championships, and then eventually was a part of the Lakers coaching staff as a coach later on. So I thought that he definitely deserved to be a part of the list. Um, so those are pretty much the reasons why I picked those players from 25 to 21. Memo. How about your choosings?
Yeah, you kind of just went in. Like, I didn't even get to name my five, but I guess I could do that now. I got Nick Van Exel at 25, 24 Michael Thompson, 23 Robert Horry, 22 Rick Fox, and 21 Bob McAdoo. I got Nick Van Exel in here. He was a pretty good player for the Lakers. Didn't win any championships, but he was a one time All Star. So I kind of gave it. I like it was like a gimme. Like I'll just add him on. I like his game. Um, uh, Fun player, so why not? Michael Thompson I added as well. Let me check really quickly. Let me double check. But yeah, he's a two-time champ. Um, Won it in 87, 88. Those were the Magic Kareem teams. Uh, and I believe, yeah, he was a key contributor to those teams. So I had to add him there. Robert Horry, as he said, a great role player, one of the best role players ever. Was able to win 7 championships, more than Jordan, more than LeBron, more than Kobe, more than your favorite player. Uh, and he did it by just being good at his job, just being there at the right time, at the right moments, hitting clutch shots. And he won 3 with the Lakers during that 3-peat with Kobe and Shaq. And so did the next guy, Rick Fox. He was also a key contributor to those Kobe Shaq uh, 3-peat teams. Um, Great role player as well. And then the last guy I want to talk about is Bob McAdoo, who was like one of the best players in the league. Uh, but that was like early on in his career. When he was a Lakers, he wasn't the same as he was in the earlier stages when he was like in Buffalo or whatever. But nevertheless, he was still,
Buffalo Brave.
yeah, nevertheless, he was a key contributor to a couple of championships with Kareem and Magic. And, he pulled through for the Lakers. So uh, I felt like he deserved a spot as well. Even though his prime wasn't with the Lakers, he still contributed in a impactful way. But yeah, those are our first five. Now let's go into the next five, the 20, uh, right? 20, yeah, 20 through 16. Uh, I guess you want to go first and name off your next five?
Sure. So at number 20, I got Michael Thompson. At number 19, I got Norm Nixon. At number 18, I got Michael Cooper. At number 17, I got Lamar Odom. And at number 16, I got Derek Fisher.
Yeah, I got a few similar, a few different. All right, you have Michael Thompson a little bit higher. Why is that? I had him at 24. You have
Um,
him at 20.
yeah, honestly, I feel like a lot of those players towards the end of the list could have been pretty interchangeable. Um, I think I just put Michael Thompson higher. Um, I guess one reason, a little bit of the vibes factor. This man is so loyal to the Lakers still to this day. even his son being on the Warriors, he still roots for the Lakers to win against his son's team. Pretty cool. Granted, like if it was my situation, I think it would probably be hard not to root for the Sun, even if you loved your old team a lot. But this guy is so loyal to the Lakers, hopes that his son has a great game, but he still wants the Lakers to win. So that's definitely one of the cool factors about him that kind of had me put him higher on the list also partially. Um Also during his stint on the Lakers, he was able to win two championships, I believe. Or maybe one of them was not on the Lakers. Or actually I think they were both on the Lakers.
Yeah, they were both
Yeah.
the Lakers.
Yeah. And then he had some pretty good he put up some pretty good numbers overall, averaging double digits both years on the Lakers. And then in the playoffs, he it was like slightly lower point averages, but then he was pretty good at like rebounding and block shots and stuff of that nature. So pretty much contributing in a lot of aspects of the game, as well as being really loyal to the team. I felt like he deserved a spot to be, um, I guess, kind of near the middle of the pack, but also um, respectable spot, shall I say?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me go over my five as well before you go on. So at number 20 for me is Lamar Odom. Um, Number 19, same as you, Norm Nixon. Number 18 for me is Byron Scott. Number 17, Derek Fisher, which I have one spot below you. And then number 16, I got AC Green. So again, some similar, some different. But yeah, you want to go over Norm Nixon since we have him at the same spot?
Yeah. Norm Nixon, from what I recall, he was primarily Magic Johnson's backup during the time he was on the Lakers. Um, Obviously he wasn't really like a superstar player or anything of that nature, but he was a pretty solid backup point guard for the most part. And he did win two championships on the Lakers. Um, and he also made one All-Star appearance on the Lakers and then another one later. But pretty much he was a good player of contributing in his own role. So I think that definitely he was pretty well deserving of being on this list. Um, I go to next player.
Sure. I just wanted to say that yeah, I agree with our placements with him just because yeah, he did win a couple of chips with the Lakers. He was an all-star not only with the Lakers but with the Clippers as well. So he had some success not only um, with the team like team success but individual success, which uh, I like to see. Um, we both have Lamar Odom in the in this group. You have him higher than me, but they're kind of close. So, why did Lamar Odom join your list? Because we did grow up watching Lamar Odom. Like that was one of the few players on our list that we did watch. Fun fact: my very first NBA jersey was a Lamar Odom jersey. Um, I got it from
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I got it
That's
from
cool.
Kohl's. Yeah, of all places. But
Nice.
besides enjoying watching him play during our childhood, why else did you add him to the list?
Yeah. Well, I will start off by saying that one of the key factors I added to my list is the fact that we did watch him during our childhood and good memories from the repeat teams in 08, 09 and 09, 2010. Um, but aside from that, pretty much LO was a really good key contributor to those championship teams, playing his role. Um, he was primarily the point forward that came off the bench, so he was the six man caliber um player. I believe he won the six man of the year in 2011 on the Lakers, um, which was his last season on the Lakers, sadly. And we don't talk about that season because that season ended in a disaster. Um, but during Lamar Odom's run, so obviously how Lamar got to the Lakers was he was a part of the Shaq deal. He was traded from Miami to the Lakers. Um, and obviously we know that Shaq is really hard to replace, but Lamar was able to stay on the Lakers long enough to the point that he became a key contributor to those championship teams. So that's definitely one of the key factors to me putting him on this list. Aside from the fact that we grew up watching him and he became a fan favorite then, he definitely did a good job in his role. I think Lamar definitely worthy of being on the list.
Yeah, and his play style in general is very influential. Like he was ahead of his time, being like a point forward. Not a lot of
Yeah,
players were doing that, and now we see a ton of players. Uh,
a lot now.
a
Yeah,
lot of
not at that time.
yeah, a lot of forwards and centers with a bag. Like they got a they can dribble the ball and distribute, pass like Lamar. So yes, shout out to him. Like he's amazing. Um, and let's talk about his teammate Derek Fisher, one of my favorite Lakers of all time. Like if it was like a personal favorites list, he'd probably be top five. Uh, with his like short but like muscular build, I always like admired like him and his weird play style. A true shooter,
Yeah,
that weird
and his
left,
being
like
shooting form.
yeah,
Yeah,
the his weird,
the rainbow shot.
yeah, it's so weird,
Yeah.
but it works. It works. So, what are some reasons why he is on the list for you?
So one of the key reasons why I got D Fish on this list is because he came up clutch a lot of the times when the Lakers needed him. And another thing about D Fish is that he wasn't afraid to take the big shots one bit. Um, and he won five championships on the Lakers and was a part of both the three-peat and the repeat in, or the three-peat was Kobe and Shaq, and the repeat was Kobe and Powell. Pretty cool feat over there. Um, for me, mostly I got to see him play during the repeat with Kobe and Powell, and my biggest memories were Game 5 of 2009 against Orlando. Actually, no, Game 4. Yeah, Game 4 of 2009 against the Magic. And then Game 3 of 2010 against the Celtics. So, to start, in Game 4 against the Magic, pretty much Lakers started a game really bad. They were down by 12 at halftime. And then towards the end, they were able to take the lead. But then the Magic made some shots and they forced overtime. So pretty much the Lakers took the lead, then the Magic took the lead, and then the Lakers were down. And then came Derek Fisher coming to the rescue, making a key three to make force the game in the overtime, from what I recall. And then after that, in overtime, Fish makes a few more key threes and shots to force the game, to help the Lakers win that game to take a 3-1 lead, as opposed to being tied up 2-2. And then game 3 against the Celtics, I remember the Lakers started the game not very good. They were down 12-5 early. And then they went on a nice run. It went up by 17 points in the second quarter. But then in the third quarter, they couldn't make very many shots. Boston, I believe, tied the game up for a little bit. And then the Lakers were late in the game. The Lakers were in huge need to make some shots if they did not want to let Boston fully take over momentum. And there came Derek Fisher. From what I recall, I remember he made like a really cool floating jump, really cool floater, and then he made a few other bank shots and a lot of key plays to help the Lakers win that game to regain the series lead 2-1 at that time. And then ultimately, of course, they won in game 7 and they got their full revenge on Boston for 2008. Really cool. But I think that the very best moment from Derek Fisher's career on the Lakers that I almost forgot about was when he hit that shot against the Spurs.
The
It's
point four
point 0.4
shot.
seconds of the
Yeah.
clock. Yeah, the point 0.4 shot at game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals. The series was tied 2-2. Um, Kobe makes a shot. Lakers go up 1. Tim Duncan makes a shot. Spurs go up 1. There's only zero point 0.4 seconds left. Many people thought the game was over. A lot of people think that it's not even possible to get a jump shot off within that little time. Well, Derek Fisher proved everyone wrong. Not only did he get that shot off quick and on time, he just drilled it, and that was a huge shot to put the Lakers up 3-2, and then eventually they were able to get to the finals that year. But I think that the main reason why I have Derek Fisher on this list is because of how clutch he was in key situations for the Lakers.
Yeah, fair enough. Like he did come through with some big shots. Again, a key role player, won 5 championships with the Lakers. Like, how can you not add him to the list? But yeah, let me go over just a couple of players that we did not have in common. Starting with Byron Scott, who was a key contributor to some championship games. He was a great role player for the Lakers. Um, yeah, he was part of 3 championships with the Magic and Kareem teams. So yeah, had to add him. Also, he did coach the Lakers for a little bit, which was nice. I have a shirt from like the opening game of that season that my uncle gave me. Uh, that like was celebrating Byron Scott's return. So uh, I thought that was pretty cool. And then
Yeah,
yeah, my number 16 spot was AC Green, who won a few championships. To not two, 3 with the Lakers. Um, the He won 2 with the Kareem Magic Lakers, and I believe 1, if I'm not mistaken. Let me. I want to make sure I'm correct here. Okay, so I'm checking. I'm checking. But yeah, he won 1 championship with the Kobe Shaq team. So it's kind of cool how he was able to win championships with with Magic and Kareem, and also with Kobe and Shaq. Like, not a lot of players could say they played with some of the greatest players of all time and won championships with them. But he's one of the few that can. And he also was an all star at one point. Um, yeah, great defender, great rebounder. So that is why he is number 16 on my list. Uh, do you want to go? Did you cover all of the players from your 5 from this group?
I I think I think I didn't cover Michael Cooper, but I covered everyone else. So I'll go over it real quickly. Um, so Michael Cooper was a pretty key contributor on the Lakers from stint. He played for the Lakers his entire career, aside from one season overseas. Um, 12 long, a good 12 years on the Lakers, 5 championships, a Defensive Player of the Year in 1987, and then for most of those years on the Lakers, he had some pretty good averages. Um, like usually he would have a at least close to double digits or double digits in points. And then he was also a key anchorer on the assists per side of things. He also would get some blocks here and there, and I say a decent amount of rebounds for knowing that he was a um, shooting guard. Um, so I think that Michael Cooper definitely was worthy of being on the list for playing his role, shall I say?
Yeah, true, true. Um, let's go over the next five, and I think I should go first because you just talked about Michael Cooper, and Michael Cooper's my number 15 spot. Following him, 14 I got Gail Goodrich. Uh, 13 I got Anthony Davis. 12 I got Jamal Wilkes, and 11 Pau Gasol. Do you want to go through? Do you want to talk about your five, and then I could talk about Michael Cooper?
Yeah. So a lot of my list was pretty similar to yours, just some of them in a slightly different order. Number 15, I got Byron Scott. Number 14, I got Gail Goodrich. Number 13, I got Jamal Wilkes. Number 12, I got Anthony Davis. And number 11, I got Pau Gasol.
Yeah, so it's very similar. And since you just talked about Michael Cooper, I'll add my 2 cents for him, which yeah, he's a great player. 5-time champion, which is pretty impressive. 8-time all defensive. He's one defensive player of the year. He was with those Magic Kareem Lakers. As you mentioned, spent almost his entire career as a Laker, which definitely helps in the when we're ranking Lakers players. If you spend a lot of your career with the Lakers, it definitely helps you with the ranking. Um, and yeah, amazing defender. He had a great career. So he obviously deserved to be on the list. And do we have? Yeah, we have Gil Goodrich at the same spot, but I noticed that Byron Scott is actually number 15. So you want to talk about Byron Scott since I kind of already just talked about him too?
Yeah. So Byron Scott played a good 10 years on the Lakers. Um and his stats were pretty good. He averaged double digit points every year. His he averaged at least practically at least one steal a game every season. And then he also had a overall pretty good 3-point shooting percentage. And then playoffs time, his stats are also pretty good during his Lakers stint. Pretty much every single year he scored double digit points in the playoffs, except for his first year with the Lakers and his last season after he went back to the Lakers because pretty much Byron's career was he started off with the Lakers for 10 years, went on a few other teams, and then went back for his last year. Um, and then his last season happened to be Kobe's rookie season. That was pretty cool. Um, but I think Byron definitely worthy of being on this list because he was a pretty decent point guard for the team and he put up some good numbers when both in the regular season and the playoffs when it mattered most. So shout out to Byron. And then of course it's also cool that he came back to coach the Lakers. Obviously the Lakers weren't very good when he did that. Um, it's not his fault, honestly. I just think that the team wasn't good enough. But yeah, shout out to Byron Scott.
Yeah, shout out to him. Now, the next guy on our list for both of us is Gail Goodrich. Um, do you want to go over him right now?
Yeah. So Gail Goodrich, obviously he was also a part of the Lakers more in like the earlier stages of history, but he was still a Los Angeles Laker. And looking at his stats, he was pretty impressive. Um, his point averages pretty much was double digit points every year aside from his rookie season. But then like pretty much Gale started off 3 seasons with the Lakers, left for a few years and then came back. After he came back, that's when he really went off. He pretty much averaged near 20 points a game, and then also let's see, his shoot his hold on. Yeah, and for a shooting guard, he shot over 40% every year. That's honestly pretty good because shooting guards, obviously we know they shoot a lot. So generally their shooting percentages are lower. But for him, still pretty good. And then the playoffs, pretty much he was also similar situation during his first stint with the Lakers. His playoff numbers were good, not as crazy. But when he came back, he pretty much went ham in the playoffs every year, averaging pretty much 20 points or more. Um, so although I wasn't able to watch him play because he was ahead of my time, looking at the numbers he put up, um, I know that he definitely did a really good job at playing his role. So I think definitely worthy of being generally pretty high on this list.
Yeah. Well, like he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. He was a five-time All Star. Four of those times was with the Lakers. He won a chip with Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West. Um, yeah, he had a pretty good career. Um, and yeah, I think we can move on. Now, so the following three are interesting to me, because again, as we mentioned, there's so our list right now is so similar. Um, so let's tackle it like this. Let's talk about Anthony Davis, who is killing it with the Lakers right now. As we all know, the Lakers just won the in-season tournament cup. Uh, Anthony Davis has won like every team accolade you can think of when it comes to basketball. He's won a chip with NCAA. He's won NBA championship. He's won the first ever in season tournament cup. He's won the FIBA Gold Cup, and then he's won an Olympic gold medal, which is impressive. He's the only player who has that resume. Uh, so part of me wants to put him higher because you do have him over Jamal Wilkes, and I kind of want to agree with you. Uh, the only reason why I have Jamal Wilkes over Anthony Davis is because he has one more championship over Anthony Davis. But other than
Mm-hmm.
that, like there is a debate. That you could convince me that Anthony Davis had a better career than Jamal Wilkes. But Jamal was no slump either. Like he is a Hall of Famer after all. He was in all defensive teams twice. And I think I was wrong. He um when it comes to championships, he did not just win. Oh no, I was right.
Won 4 championships, Jamal Wilkes.
Sorry, what?
Jamal Wilkes won. Well, Jamal Wilkes won 4 championships, but I think one of them was not on the Lakers though. I guess
Yeah,
3 championships with the Lakers.
three. For some reason on Basketball Reference, it only shows two with the Lakers, one with Golden State, and I don't know what happened to the third mystery
Oh,
championship.
I think it's because he got traded that year or something. Because his last season he started on the Lakers and then he finished on the Clippers.
Mm.
So I don't know if at that time they didn't give out rings or it didn't count if they're not the team at the end of the season or what. But
So in a
I mean,
way,
on
he
Wikipedia it says he has 4 rings,
yeah,
so I don't know which one to believe.
it says he's a four-time champ, but one of them is not existent on Basketball Reference for some reason, and the other
Yeah,
is with the Warriors. So I guess in a way, he only does have one chip over Anthony Davis during their Lakers career. Um,
yeah,
so that's why I have him over the edge. But you know, Anthony Davis is no slouch. He is one of the best defenders in the league. When he wants to, he is honestly like a top 5 player or top 10 player in the league on both ends of the floor. So, uh, you know, 13-12, it's a good range for Anthony Davis, I think.
yeah,
And Jamal.
yeah. I think so. And honestly, I felt like those two were very interchangeable. I could have easily put Jamal higher, or could have left it at how I put it. Ultimately, I think probably I just put AD higher just because I'm more familiar with his game. Obviously we know that one of AD's problems during the last few seasons has been him not being able to stay healthy and on the court.
That's
But
a
when
good
he
point.
was healthy, yeah, but when he was healthy, he's proven to be a really great player. Arguably arguably top 5 in the league, probably top 10 in the league. Um, but yeah, AD definitely, especially during the bubble run championship as well as the in-season tournament that just went through, um, showed how dominant a player he could be when he's at his peak and healthy. Um, and so far he won one championship with the Lakers, one in-season tournament, and then of course, as you mentioned, he also won national championship in college, gold medal Olympics, cup, and also, um, if I'm missing anything, probably not, but pretty much winning everything, also really impressive. So I think AD definitely deserving one of those two spots, 12 or 13. And he could definitely get higher on this list if he wins more championships or other accolades on the Lakers, even. And then Jamal Wilkes, of course, we know he was a very big, good machine during his Lakers stint. He pretty much he averaged double digits in points every year. Um, aside from his first year, aside from his first year and his last year, he was even above 17-point averages, which is pretty good. And then from what I remember, he had like a pretty cool, unique jump shot. Um, and his nickname was Silk. That's also pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I think those two guys could very much be interchangeable. Ultimately, I just decided Wilkes 13 and Davis 12.
But our number 11s are similar, which is Pau Gasol. Right outside of the top 10, unfortunately, but well deserved to be this high on the list. Two-time champ with the Lakers, helped basically helped Kobe stay with the Lakers. Like I know there was, he wanted to leave at one point, and he had like a long stint of losing, uh, obviously not winning any championships without Shaq for a while until Powell came in. And once Powell came in, uh, it basically revitalized Kobe's career, and they won two chips together back to back. Powell really came through. Like oh my god, this man was insane with the Lakers. He was a three-time All-Star with the Lakers. Obviously, he's won more when he was with Chicago and Memphis. But yeah, Um, he was in All NBA. He is now a Hall of Famer, which congrats to him. Like well deserved. Has
Well
accolades
deserved. Yeah.
from international basketball, but sticking with the Lakers, like he really came through. Won two chips back to back with the Lakers, as I said, with some great stats. He's averages like around 20 points per game for both series. Um, uh, Rebounded over 10 rebounds a game, so he basically averaged a double double in the playoffs for those two championship runs. And besides being elite and coming through with the Lakers, he was just one of my favorite players to watch back then. He was such a unique player. I thought, in a way, an innovator because he was a great passer for his time and for his position. Um, I believe that was a very underrated skill set that he had. But yeah, why do you have Powell at number 11?
Yeah. So definitely similar to you, one pretty much during the era when we first started watching basketball, Powell was a huge part of the Lakers team. And of course, a big reason why Kobe was able to win two more championships post Shaq. Um, he was a very dominant big man. Um, the the narratives will so pretty much like the narratives will like to say like, oh, Powell was soft and all that. None of that like matters what they think because he was still really dominant in playing his role, and clearly he was a his game also evolved quite a bit during his Lakers stint, I think, because in the beginning he was mostly a post up man and didn't really shoot much outside shots or threes. But towards the end of his Lakers stint and ranging on to his later career on the Bulls, Spurs, and even Milwaukee his final year, he started to go more outside and shoot some threes. So I know that Powell's game definitely evolved a lot. And then definitely um also a part of the international play. We all know that a lot of the time Spain was the runner up or one of the bigger challenges to the US. And one of the reasons was definitely Powell. And then during the championship runs, of course, we know how big of a factor he played. Um, Definitely shout out to Pau Gasol, one of our, I guess, early basketball fan favorites.
Yeah, shout out to him. But okay, we've made it to our top 10. So let's go over our next five. Um, I'll go first. I got at number 10 James Worthy, number 9 George Mikan, number 8 Elgin Baylor, number 7 Wilt Chamberlain, and number 6 LeBron James. Who were in your five?
I believe my five was pretty similar to yours overall, just in a slight different sequence. But to start number 10, I also have James Worthy. Number 9, I got Elgin Baylor. Number 8, I got Wilt Chamberlain. Number 7, I got LeBron James. And number 6, I got George Mikan.
Yeah, I remember from last time you had George Mikan pretty high, and you were kind of convincing me last time to put George Mikan higher. So, why did you put George Mikan this high?
Yeah. Well, to start, um, it's undebatable that George Mikan is for sure the greatest Minneapolis Laker of all time. Um, Obviously that was a long time ago, so I wasn't able to watch him play, but his stats were quite crazy. Um, he averaged over 20 points for his first 5 seasons on the Lakers, or in the NBA, shall I say, because the Lakers are the only team he played for. And then towards the end, his numbers dipped a little bit. He still averaged 18 and then 10 his final year. But in the playoffs, this he was like an even bigger monster because he averaged 30 and 31 points his first 2 years in the playoffs was the Lakers. And then after that, he averaged 24, 23, 19, 19, and 12. Pretty good. And then if you're talking about like cumulative throughout his entire career, um, his regular season average was 23 points, and his playoff average was 24 points. Um, Definitely the big man dominance back then. Of course, like the eras were different, the competition wasn't as good. But when we talk about like the greatest Lakers big man of history all time, uh, George Mikan is definitely up there in the conversation, and that's why I had to put him pretty high on this list. I will say.
Yeah, so like you bring up so many great points about like basically he was the GOAT of the Minneapolis Lakers. There's no denying that. Uh, I believe. Let me just double check. But yeah, he was a four-time All-Star, three-time scoring champ, five-time NBA champ. He was an All-Star MVP. Like he accomplished a lot with the Lakers back in the day. But it's he was playing with plumbers. Like that's the only reason why I have him lower. Because it's crazy to have him lower than someone like LeBron, Wilt, Elgin Baylor, who, uh, yeah, I guess a couple of them didn't play with elite competition, but at least it wasn't like Minneapolis a competition, where like segregation was still a thing. Mikan's photo is black and white, so uh, although you brought up a lot of great points, I ultimately do have him slightly lower because of his competition back then. Um, but yeah, he was my number nine. Our number tens are the same. James Worthy. Do you want to talk about him for a bit?
Yeah. So of course, big game James. He was a part of the Showtime Lakers with Magic and Kareem, and he was the Lakers selected him number one overall in 1982, coming out of North Carolina. And he won 3 championships with the Lakers throughout his 12-year stint. He was a 7-time All Star, and he pretty cool. Similar to AD, he was able to win both a college championship and the NBA championship. Um, and then every year with the Lakers, he averaged double digits in points. And in the playoffs, same thing. In the playoffs, seemingly a lot of the years his numbers also went up, and he was pretty decent with pretty decent with rebounding, and he was able to get a respectable number of blocks, I think, or block averages. And overall, he was definitely a very key contributor. And like, of course, Magic and Kareem, they are the main figures that you think of during Showtime Lakers. But James Worthy, not far behind. So that's why I felt that he was definitely very worthy of being number 10 on this list.
uh,
Yeah,
I did
the
not see
shame
that
comes
coming.
in
Not gonna
handy.
lie, but yeah, I guess he
Yeah.
was pretty worthy to be in the top 10. He is a Hall of Famer, three-time champ with the Showtime Lakers, two-time All NBA. I actually didn't know this. He was a Finals MVP. Wow, that's impressive, especially
Yeah,
since he
it is
teamed up
impressive.
with Magic and Kareem. So yeah, that's very impressive. 7-time All Star. He's in the 75 NBA 75th anniversary team. Um, yeah, one of the best. Like uh, just simply one of the best Lakers of all time. But yeah, we've
Definitely.
discussed Worthy. We've discussed George Mikan. Let's talk about Elgin Baylor, who was probably one of the greatest players to never win a ring. Um, Unfortunately, the year that uh, the Lakers won a ring back in the day, Elgin was traded before the playoffs. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So
I
he had
believe
a
back then
chance
they
if he
didn't give.
stayed, but unfortunately, he got traded, so he couldn't get that one ring that he well deserved.
Yeah, that was sad for sure. And I believe back then they didn't do what they do now, where if you were just a part of the roster at any time of the season, you get the ring. I think back then you had to be on the team at the very end to get the ring. That was quite unfortunate, but um,
But yeah, this
I know
man,
like for a fact.
you could keep going.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna say this man had averaged godly numbers, pretty much, especially early in his career. Um, Pretty much damn near 30 or over 30 points a game for his first 5 seasons. Really, even many years later in his career, he was able to average over 20 points. And then ultimately, his last season on the Lakers, it was a little bit lower. But overall, this man was so dominant. He put up really good numbers. And it is unfortunate that he never got to win that ring with the Lakers. But rings are definitely important, but not everything. So I think that definitely, despite not having a ring, Elgin was definitely very worthy of being in the top 10 on our list.
Yeah, most definitely. Like he was in All NBA 10 times. He's obviously a Hall of Famer, 11-time All Star in the NBA 75th anniversary team. Posted some crazy numbers, some crazy stat lines, uh, and a true innovator of the game. Like he was playing ahead of his time with how well his dribbling was, his finishing. It was truly ahead of the time. Very impressive for back in the day. And yeah, I wish he won a ring, but he will forever be a legend in the NBA. Not just for the Lakers, but in the NBA in general. But yeah, we'll keep it moving. I noticed your next guy is Will Chamberlain, so let's might as well talk about him. Um, Another person known for crazy stat lines, right?
Yeah. I mean, we all know his most well known feature is 100 points in a game. Obviously, we know that the era he played in wasn't quite as competitive, but setting that aside, that man put up some crazy numbers back in the day. I think he has to be on this list just for putting up those numbers. Like, unfortunately, the competition stuff, he can't really control that because he pretty much just went against the competition that was ahead of him. But doing so, the man put up such great numbers. It's definitely hard not to put him on this list, regardless of the era. So I think Will Chamberlain for sure deserved to be here. He won one championship on the Lakers and one championship on the Sixers. But for the Lakers championship, he did win the Finals MVP. So definitely proving how big of a an importance he was. And then also pretty cool, he played for the Harlem Globetrotters to start his basketball
I
career.
had no
That is pretty
idea.
cool. Yeah. On his Wikipedia page, they use a picture of him on the Harlem Globetrotters, not even on the Lakers, which is I would say probably he's more well known for his Lakers days, but I think him playing for the Harlem Globetrotters is also a pretty big deal too. Um, I think okay, I don't think that I think from what I heard the Globetrotters might have been like a part of the NBA like very briefly, or maybe it was the ABA or something, and they play against the Lakers in like a national championship game, but maybe that was before Wilt played for them. Um, but yeah, it is pretty cool that Wilt played for the Globetrotters for a year, and then also put up godly numbers regardless of the competition. So I think definitely he deserves to be on the top 10 of our list.
Yeah, throughout his entire career, he was a 7 time scoring champ. As you mentioned, he won 2 championships. Once with the Lakers and one, and also, sorry, a Finals MVP. He was a 2 time All Defensive player. He won a total of 4 MVPs, and again, he's known for his insane stats. Like his career stats is literally 30 points, 22.9 total rebounds. That's incredible. That will never happen in the modern NBA. It will never happen ever again. So the fact that he was able to average that throughout his career is insane. And he was very efficient as well. But yeah, this man was incredible. Even though he did play against some um, plumbers, some mailmen, some delivery boys, he still was incredible for his time. So shout out to Wilt. And then I think the only player we have not talked about is um, one of the greatest players of all time, LeBron James, which I have him at number 6. You have him at number 7. But yeah, what can't we say about LeBron? Like he's done it all. He really has. I mean, his career wasn't he wasn't a Laker throughout his entire career, so that's probably why he's not as high as people might think he is on our list. But still, like he has some crazy accolades. He won a championship with the Lakers. He's won an in-season tournament cup, the first one ever, and was the first ever in-season tournament MVP. Um, what else can we say? Like he became the all-time um, scorer. Is
Leading
that
scorer in
leading
points.
scorer as a Laker?
Yeah. A record that we thought, or many people thought, wasn't going to be broken from
Exactly.
Kareem. Yeah.
Um,
And now that he has that record and pretty much could play like probably as long as he wants at this point, knowing how good he still is. I think that probably the new scoring record would be pretty much unbeatable at this point. Obviously, you never say never, but it's going to be very hard for another player to beat. Um,
yeah, extremely
and
hard.
then, of course, yeah, as you mentioned, pretty much achieved it all. Um, Strictly talking Lakers career, he even now won a championship, a Finals MVP, and a in-season tournament cup. Um, and then if we're talking about like his career as a whole, winning a championship for each of the 3 teams he played for, also definitely a pretty cool feature right there. So the only reason why he's not higher on this list is because a lot of his accomplishments were done on the Cavs and the Heat, and the Lakers are he's it's still a work in progress. But so far, still done a pretty good job on the Lakers. So definitely worthy of being somewhere in the top 10.
Yeah, and who knows? Like, his career is definitely not ending anytime soon. Like, he's proving to everybody that um he could do this for a long time. He's almost 40 years old, and he is
Yeah.
still one of the best players in the league. Debatably could be in the MVP conversation for this year. Um, Still the best Laker right now. And if he wins another championship, obviously we'll add another Finals MVP. Like, he could uh, rank up in our Lakers list for sure. But yeah, with all that said, let's talk about our top five, which I believe is exactly the same as um based off of last time. So our top five
Yeah.
is number five Jerry West, number four Shaq, number three Kareem, number two Magic, and at number one Kobe Bean Bryant. That's your list as well, right?
Yep. Same exact list, same exact order. Um, let's get right into it.
Yeah, starting with Jerry West, of
So
course, at number five. Why is he on? Why is he this high on the list? I should say why is he on the list because obviously he's gonna be on the list. But why is he this high for you?
yeah, so Jerry West. First off, the NBA logo. That's pretty cool. Nicknamed several nicknames. I mean, the logo. He was also Mr. Clutch for making clutch shots. Um, he um kind of similar to Elgin Baylor, did have a lot of bad luck on the Lakers in terms of finals, but he was able to win one championship, thankfully. So that's good. And of course, a lot of the reasons because the Lakers kept on bumping into those overpowered Celtics teams. So that was very unfortunate. But ultimately, this man achieved so much that even if he hadn't won a championship, there was no way that he wasn't going to be on this list. Fortunately, he did win one. Um, and looking at his like stats, this man also had put up godly numbers. Aside from his rookie season, he averaged 20 plus points every single year, and he also averaged a pretty good amount of rebounds, especially for a point guard. And during the time that he played, 3 pointers were not a thing yet. But you can only imagine how much higher his point averages would have been if 3 pointers were a thing back then. Because even without threes, he put up some really good numbers. And then one year in 1965, this man averaged 40 over 40 points per game in the playoffs. That was crazy. Yeah. Looking at that stat line, 1965, he averaged 40.6 points per game. Um yeah, pretty impressive. Yeah. And then later on, Jerry West coached the Lakers for 3 years, and then he was also a GM for the Lakers for a while, and a major illustrator of some key moves as a GM too. Particularly drafting Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, no, signing Shaquille O'Neal in free agency, and then trading for Kobe Bryant in the draft in 1996. Definitely big thanks to Jerry West for that. Of course, now he's the GM with the Clippers, unfortunately, but none of that matters. Everything he did for the Lakers was huge, so definitely well deserved of being in the top five all time Lakers list.
Yeah, this man accomplished a lot in his Hall of Fame career. 14-time All Star. He was a scoring champ. 5-time All Defensive Team. 12-time All NBA. he won a chip, and he was the Finals MVP for it. Um, he won an All Star MVP. He was in the NBA 75th anniversary team, so he accomplished a lot. He had crazy stat lines, as he said. Um, and yeah, he's the logo for a reason. Like, this man was one of the best at it back then. So yeah, I think well deserved in the top five. But let's now talk about Shaq, who is number four. Um, I guess if he stayed with the Lakers throughout his entire career, he could honestly be number one.
Arguably higher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot higher. But with his short stint with the Lakers, he won three championships, um, three Finals MVPs. Obviously, he was an All Star, and again, he is one of the most dominant players of all time. Um, but yeah, where do you want to begin on Shaq? Like, I know he wasn't
Yeah.
a Laker throughout his entire career, but he was pivotal for some of the most impressive moments in the Lakers franchise history.
Yeah. So to start, obviously Shaq, probably the most dominant NBA player of all time, and a lot of that is because of how strong he was. But aside from that, obviously we know being one of the him and Kobe being neck and neck, and arguably 1A 1B during the three-peat years on the Lakers, dynamic duo, arguably the greatest duo of all time. I think the greatest duo of all time. There's a little bit of bias, but I really believe so. Um, it is unfortunate that Kobe and Shaq were not able to get along, because if they were able to get along, they could have easily won like a lot more championships. But obviously after they separated, they were both able to win championships on their own. Shaq winning one was the Heat in 2006, and then Kobe winning two in '09 and 2010. Um, so overall, they were still able to have some success without each other, but nothing really matched the success they had with each other. And Shaq, obviously, like very dominant. It was very hard for any opposing players to guard that man, and understandable because he's literally a monster on the court. So definitely he is he could be argued to be higher on this list. But because of those other guys we have remaining, we felt like around four probably made the most sense.
Yeah, he has pretty stiff competition. That's for sure. Uh, Even though, like, within his short stint, not only did he win championships and Finals MVPs, but he was uh, a NBA MVP as well with the Lakers. So he accomplished a lot as a Laker. Unfortunately, he did leave, which is a shame because he probably would have won a lot more with Kobe. But it is what it is, and I'm still grateful for his stint as a Laker. But let's move on to the next player, which is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the greatest players of all time. Of course, he wasn't a Laker throughout his entire career. He started off in Milwaukee, was a All Star over there, won Milwaukee's first ever championship over there. But he had a lot of success with the Lakers as well. Um, uh, he's won, I believe, five championships with the Lakers, and then one with the Bucks. Um, Obviously, for the longest time, he was the all-time scoring leader. He has a few Finals MVP under his belt. He is a five-time All-Star, two-time scoring champ throughout his career, four-time block champ, um, 11-time All-Defensive, and of course, known for his iconic hook shot. So, uh, for you, why was he number three on your list?
Yeah. So I think one of the major reasons is the fact that the man was so dominant to the point that he was the NBA's leading all-time scorer for the longest time until LeBron ultimately passed him. A record that probably most people didn't think was going to be beatable. Um, but also, the man was really dominant on the Lakers and winning 5 championships for us. And then, of course, he did accomplish a lot. Also, having won the 3-time NCAA champion, and then one champion was the Bucks, and then 5 was the Lakers. Definitely really cool accomplishments there. And then him and Wilt going neck and neck for like who's the best center in the league. That was sure a cool time. Of course, we were not able to witness that because it was ahead of our time, but I'm sure that would have been really cool. Um, and also his point averages are also really good. Pretty much until his final years in the league, he averaged over 20 points in a game. 20 points per season. And then um, his iconic hook shot, very cool. Obviously, being the one that pretty much invented that shot and made it iconic, a heavy influence on the game of basketball. Um, so overall, Kareem has done so much all around. I think that he definitely deserves to be top three for those reasons.
Yeah, like well deserved. Um, yeah, truly one of the greatest players of all time. So I'm glad that he was able to be a Laker and have so much success here. And he had so much success with the next player on the list, Magic Johnson, who spent his entire career with the Lakers. Obviously shortened, but a shortened career, but nevertheless, uh, had an incredible run, like absolutely phenomenal run. Him and Larry Bird's rivalry really helped the NBA back in the day. Um, and let me go over some of his accolades because he's done it all. He's a 5-time champ, 3-time MVP, 3-time Finals MVP, 10-time All NBA, 12-time All Star, 4-time assist champ, 2-time steals champ, um, 2-time All Star MVP. He was in the NBA 75th anniversary team. His very first championship he won um, as a rookie. He was also an All Star as a rookie, which is incredible. Um, and correct me if I'm wrong, but was he Finals MVP for his rookie year or no?
Um, let's see. He was
Or was it
he
Kareem?
was the Finals MVP his rookie year. Yeah,
Yeah, who
he
else
was
could
the
say
Finals.
that? Like one of the you probably the only player that could say that they were the Finals MVP as a rookie. Like
Yeah, that's pretty crazy though. Like, first off, to be the best player on a team as a rookie is pretty impressive in itself, especially because there's so many more other players that have been in the league so much longer and so much more experience. And then a rookie just jumps in and takes all the shine away from them and is the best from the start. Definitely really cool story there. And then aside from that, wins not that just the regular MVP, but the finals MVP. Definitely really cool. And then, as you mentioned, he won 5 NBA championships, 3 Finals MVPs, 12-time All Star, and man has pretty much done it all. Also won an NCAA championship, and he did coach the Lakers for a brief moment, and though that wasn't the greatest stint, it's still cool that he has one of the many former Laker players that ended up also coaching the Lakers. Um, Shout out to Magic. And of course, we all know, like, outside of basketball, he's a really good businessman, owns several sports teams and whatnot there. But you can argue Magic Johnson very well could be the greatest Laker of all time. Um,
But we do
and
not agree.
yeah, but we will go over shortly why we have him number two.
We could do that right now, honestly, because although Magic is an incredible player, game changing player, a very tall point guard that wasn't really a thing back in the day, and was able to accomplish so much in so little time. Right from the get go, as we mentioned, he was a Finals MVP as a rookie. Um, but yeah, still, with all that said, Kobe Bryant has to be the best Lakers of all time. He spent 20 years as a Laker. Um, there was some ups, there were some downs, but the highs were super high. He was able to get a 3P with Shaq, a repeat with Powell. Um, he was a two-time scoring champ, 18-time All-Star, four-time All-Star MVP. He was so dominant that they named the All-Star Game trophy after him after he passed away. Uh, uh, if I haven't mentioned this already, I actually did. I actually did. But moving on, 15-time All NBA, 12-time All Defensive. Like a lot of people think about Kobe. When they think about Kobe, they think about his scoring, but he was a phenomenal defender as well. One of the best guards. One of the best. Man, I can't talk. Defenders in the guard position. Um, he was an MVP in the '08 uh, season, two times Finals
Yeah,
MVP.
so should have won more.
He definitely was robbed several times. Of course, he had some bad teams, so that didn't help. And then the rise of LeBron didn't help as well. But there's a certain Canadian that didn't really deserve his MVP. I'll say that. uh,
Yeah, we know that.
and of course, he was in the NBA 75th anniversary team. And he's done so much. Like, there's so many iconic moments that Kobe contributed, like his 81-point game, a ton of iconic game winners, like against the Heat, uh, or some incredible dunks, like over Dwight Howard. Uh, and of course, he was one of the players that we grew up watching as well. Like, he was definitely a big part of my childhood. So, he impacted me on so many levels that it's more than just basketball for me personally. So yeah, although I might be biased, but for me he has to be number one. Like, you can't think of LA, you can't think of the Lakers and not think about Kobe Bryant. Like, when you think about the Lakers, you think about Kobe. They're like together. Um, but yeah, why is he your number one Laker of all time?
Yeah. So I'll start out by saying that Kobe was definitely one of the big reasons why I got into basketball, both as a fan and playing the game of sport. When I first watched basketball in 2009, it was the semifinals against the Rockets, and seeing how dominant a player Kobe was and his will to win, the Mamba mentality, very inspiring. And as we know now, the Mamba mentality could be used so many ways, even outside of sports, in the sense of always working your hardest and never giving up, even at the lowest of lows. Um, So Kobe was a really great inspiration on and off the court. Um, but going back to his playing days, five-time NBA champion. Um, Three was Shaq during the three-peat in 2000 to 2002. Repeat was Powell in from 2009 and 2010. Um, 81 points, which is second most in a game behind Wilt Chamberlain. But if we're being real, it was it probably more impressive, if anything, because the game had evolved a lot more versus back in the day. The rules were quite different, and even Kobe himself said that he believed he could have scored 100 that game if he made a few more of his shots and whatnot. And not only that, but he had so many other like impressive games too, like 60-point games. There was that one game where he outscored the entire Mavericks team in the third quarter. It was like Kobe 62, Mavericks 61 or
I
something.
remember
That was
that.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Don't
Yeah.
forget about his 60
And then
point game for his final game. It wasn't the most efficient
ah,
Kobe game, but it was a close game, and he did come in clutch for the Lakers on his final game.
yeah.
And I remember how emotional not only the entire crowd was for that game, but like me too. Like watching it from my TV, like I could not believe what I was watching that day. It was one of the best memories I've had watching basketball ever.
Definitely. And it definitely was a shame that the Lakers had some really bad teams to end his career and weren't able to at least give him a chance to like make the playoffs, even if he didn't win another ring. Um, but that was definitely probably the greatest farewell game from any player all time.
Probably from any
So
sport all time as well.
yeah, if we're being real. So shout out to Kobe Bryant, um, and rest in peace to the GOAT.
Rest in peace. But yeah, that's our list. Kobe is our uh, best Lakers of all time. Before we go, I think we should both quickly just name off our top 25 list for everybody because it's been kind of a long podcast, so it's easy to forget the order. And I could go first. So for my number 25, I have Nick Van Exel, 24, Michael Thompson, 23, Robert Horry, 22, Rick Fox, 21, Bob McAdoo. Number 20 is Lamar Odom. Number 19 is Norm Nixon. Number 18 is Byron Scott. Number 17 is Derek Fisher. Number 16, AC Green. Number 15, Michael Cooper. Number 14, Gail Goodrich. Number 13, Anthony Davis. Number 12, Jamal Wilkes. Number 11, Pau Gasol. Number 10, James Worthy. Number 9, George Mikan. Number 8, Elgin Baylor. Number 7, Will Chamberlain. Number 6, LeBron James. Number 5, Jerry West. Number 4, Shaquille O'Neal. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 2, Magic Johnson. And number 1, Kobe Bryant. So that is my list. You want to go through your list?
Yeah. Number 25, I got Vladi Divac. Number 24, I got Eddie Jones. Number 23, I got Vern Mickelson. 22, I got Robert Horry. Number 21, I got Kurt Rambis. Number 20, Michael Thompson. Number 19, Norm Nixon. Number 18, Michael Cooper. Number 17, Lamar Odom. Number 16, Derek Fisher. Number 15, Byron Scott. Number 14, Gail Goodrich. Number 13, Jamal Wilkes. Number 12, Anthony Davis. Number 11, Pau Gasol. Number 10, James Worthy. Number 9, Elgin Baylor. Number 8, Wilt Chamberlain. Number 7, LeBron James. Number 6, George Mikan. Number 5, Jerry West. Number 4, Shaquille O'Neal. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 2, Magic Johnson. And at number 1, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, so those are our
And those
lists.
are our lists.
Yeah, so a fun episode, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a fun episode. going over our top 25 list. There were definitely some challenging decisions to make throughout the
Mm-hmm.
list. Overall, I think that pretty solid list from both of us, honestly.
Yeah. I hope we.
Of course, there's certain players that maybe we may have left out, like either of us, or maybe there's certain orders that like we could have put this player higher, or maybe this player should have been a little bit lower. But overall, the best we could do, I think, not bad.
Yeah, I like our list. I do. I do. And I hope you all did as well. If you liked this podcast, like on YouTube or uh, give it give our podcast 5 stars on uh, Apple Music. I mean Apple Podcasts, Spotify. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy. We'll have more fun episodes in the coming weeks that we are working on. And yeah, I think that's it. Do you have any last remarks before we go?
Yeah, just pretty much re-emphasizing. This was a fun episode. We got plenty of more content to come. During the coming weeks, it's mostly gonna be special edition, fun related episodes. In the meantime, and then eventually we're gonna go back to the traditional, longer length episodes. But should be fun coming up, and make sure to stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, everybody. But yeah, we're done here. So goodbye, everybody. Take care.
Deuces.